Oh, so that's how she got her blonde hair. I always wondered about that. I'm sure glad they took 2.5 hours to explain it. Black Widow is the newest Marvel movie and also the first full-length movie of Phase 4. And it's also the first huge Marvel movie to sort of course-correct things after everything got delayed due to the pandemic. And while it is a new movie, it doesn't do much to move the needle forward since it's about a character who is, spoilers for one of the biggest movies of all time, already dead. The story follows Black Widow on the run after the events of Captain America: Civil War as she re-teams with her estranged family to take on the man responsible for training and torturing her. And this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it was a pleasant surprise for me to find out while I was watching the movie that this is when it takes place. I thought it was a story about Natasha before she even met the Avengers. See? Sometimes it pays to not read absolutely every article about a movie before it comes out. On the other hand, it takes place after the events of Captain America: Civil War. Why didn't we get this movie after Captain America: Civil War instead of Doctor Strange? I'm not going to waste my time going down that rabbit hole. I will just say that it was a huge mistake on Marvel and Disney's part to wait until now. Because all of the other reasons it's stupid aside, it takes away some of the tension since you know that Natasha's not gonna die. That's part of the reason lots of prequels don't work. That also means that it's up to the filmmakers to create tension with some of the new characters that they have introduced. Make us care about them and then put them in some sort of danger so we'll actually be concerned. I mean, it's a superhero movie, so most of our heroes are going to come out of the story alive. But since this movie was ripped from the chronological order that had been established, I did have a small wonder in the back of my mind about who may or may not survive. And that's because I cared, especially when it came to Natasha's dad and sister, played by David Harbour and Florence Poe? I think that's how you say her name? Sorry if it's not. It really did end up being their show just as much as Natasha, and they did an excellent job. David Harbour played the character of Alexei, or Red Guardian, Russia's answer to Captain America, hilariously and full of sentimentality. Florence Poe as Yelena, she was awesome. Did anyone see this coming? I mean, I knew she was a good actress. She was superb in Fighting with My Family. But the amount she was given to work with here, especially for a superhero movie, was impressive, and she did the job in a very entertaining way. She had great range, and when the character is given the chance to talk about what family meant to her, it almost had me in tears. Well done, Florence. I sincerely hope it's not the last time we see this character, because I think I might have a new favorite. Rochelle Weisz plays the mother of this little dysfunctional family they have going on, and she was fine, but it really felt like it could have been played by anyone. And that's not a fault on the actress's part. That's more the writers. They didn't give her as much to do as the other characters. She was the least fleshed out as well. Regarding the topic of family, the movie did it in a really decent way. I thought it was an interesting take on the broken, blended family dynamics that lots of people will be able to relate to. And while I hate to keep saying it, it was impressive for a superhero movie. Taskmaster was a really cool villain to finally see on the big screen, and while what they do with the character here does make sense for the world that they've created in this movie, I do see how some hardcore comic book fans might be put off. Scarlett Johansson, of course, did fine. That's not a knock against her, but this is a character she has been playing for basically a decade. And while her fights in the movie are cool, because that's what the character's really known for, it is stuff we've all seen before. The same can be said for her character just going through the motions of the plot. Yep, that's Natasha. She has charisma and charm, but that's not a surprise. The movie has its fair share of spectacle and interestingly choreographed fights, and it's all super clean and professional looking as Marvel movies do. It is definitely the next logical step in terms of quality when it comes to stuff like that with these movies. So I guess you could argue that had it come out in 2016, it might not have been as good, but I think that would be a silly excuse. Black Widow gets a solid 7 out of 10 from me. Florence Poe was the best part of this movie, but it's still a movie that should have come out 5 years ago. If you're a diehard MCU fan, you will absolutely enjoy Black Widow. It's a character we love finally getting her chance to shine. If you're only so-so with the MCU, then you might get some enjoyment out of the family dynamics that are happening in this movie and the performances from the supporting characters. If you have never liked these movies, you're probably not watching this review, but Black Widow will not be changing your mind and you will be absolutely lost. It is a good time at the movies, but then that's usually the case with Marvel movies. This also might be stimulated by the fact that I hadn't seen a movie in the theater for almost a year. Disney knows how to put on a show. There's no question there. But it has become the same show the more of these movies they churn out. Looking ahead at what's to come, I have to say, I'm not very excited. Sure, I want to see how they're going to wrap up the Spider-Man story, but other than that, everything else just looks sort of blah. If that means I'm growing out of these movies, then I am absolutely okay with Black Widow being the final one for me. So what about you guys? Have you seen Black Widow yet? It's in the theaters and it's on Disney+. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.